Israel attacked Iran's major gas field, the South Pars field. In return, in retaliation, Iran attacked the Qatar big gas fields. The result is that we are losing a very significant percentage of the world's oil and gas supply. It's often said in our newspapers each day that the Strait of Hormuz, in normal periods, is passed by 20% of the world oil supply. But the disruption because of the destruction of the oil and gas fields and oil and gas port facilities could be even bigger than 20%, because around 31% of the world oil production takes place in this region. If the production is heavily damaged or destroyed, the economic consequences worldwide will be extremely severe. The natural gas is around 11 or 12% of the world supply, a little bit less because of greater amounts of gas being produced in the US and in Russia and elsewhere, but it's very significant and it's under direct military attack right now. So this is a crisis that will be very big, and that's why I want the world, and especially the world's leaders, to say to Israel and the United States, stop now before you ruin the entire world economy. Stop your aggression, go back home, allow a peace plan to be implemented, and stop ruining the whole world economy.
Well, on the other hand, if you look at just from the chains of impact, the oil price affected both the derivatives, the futures, and even affected US dollars, gold, and all these financial structures. And the petrochemical industry formed the foundation of a lot of modern industries, and that would have another chain effects affecting world economy. And then, not to say the environmental impacts, with all the PM 2.5 currently looming on Tehran, I just can't imagine how we undo such a damage to our economy, to our environment, and to our financial systems. So, Jeffrey, are we already at the point of no return? Are we still looking at perhaps a greener, better future with all the ideas of COP26, 27, and all these attempts trying to make the world a more livable place, a more sustainable place? Haven't we gone too far?
Well, first of all, the war should end now. It doesn't even need negotiation, as I said. The United States and Israel need to stop their aggression. Then that would allow the rest to take place. And if it doesn't happen soon, and there continues to be the destruction of the oil and gas, exactly what you said, and exactly correctly, the effects will be enormous. And not just at the gas pump is the point you're making. The effect of a cutoff of energy is felt through the entire economy, and therefore through the financial markets, through wealth, through debt crises, through bankruptcies, through loss of jobs. This is what a supply cutoff will do if it continues this way, and especially if the physical destruction of the oil and gas fields continues as the escalation is leading right now. That didn't happen in 1973, 74, or 1979, 80. In those periods, there was simply a stop of flow of the energy, but not a destruction of the energy. This time, there's a destruction of the energy. Now,
I know we have already reached the end of our agreed time, but I have a very important topic, so I would ask you to allow us to explore that. You have been traveling throughout the world. Just in the past 3-4 days, you moved from KL to Tokyo to Beijing. I know that you're in a mission. You're in a peace mission. ever since last September, after you finished the first peace game in Columbia University, in which I was very honored to be a part, you have been traveling and talking to heads of states. With this current war of the Middle East, what lessons learned can be given generally to heads of states, but also specifically to our side of the world? And may I just add, in the scenario that you have for the peace game last year, it is precisely on the Asia Pacific, on the Taiwan Strait, on the potential tension across the Taiwan Strait. And now, even with the United States and Takaishi, people still talk about if there are military confrontation across the Taiwan Strait. So perhaps you could spend the last minutes, the couple of minutes, to talk about the general ideas of peace in our region, how you can propose to move on peace, and then perhaps ideas and advices to both heads of states and thinkers around our region, around the world.
Thank you very much. Well, my first point is to my own government. It has to give up the delusional idea of hegemony or dominance or primacy, whichever word one wants to use. In the United States policy circles, the idea remains that the United States must be the dominant power in the world. This is delusional at this point. There are many powers in the world, China, Russia, India. There's no point in saying I'm number one, because that just leads to great power confrontation. And the United States needs to grow up and understand the world as it is, not the world of its delusion. So this is a very key point. The delusion leads to lots of war. The war in Ukraine is a war of American hegemony. This is maybe not the way that the propaganda of the West puts it, but the war in Ukraine came because the United States pushed its military alliance to Russia's border. It pushed NATO to enlarge to Ukraine and to Georgia, Georgia being a country in the South Caucasus region. And Russia was threatened by this U.S. action. That's a long story. I am against the United States expanding NATO. I am against the United States being in the middle of the issues between the People's Republic of China and Taiwan. Those are internal issues that are not the business of the United States, in my view. And the United States meddles in these issues in ways that are extremely dangerous and provocative. And a fourth lesson for leaders around the world is, if you think the United States is going to protect you, think again. This is very important to understand. Who thought that they would be protected by the United States in the Middle East? Well, that would be Bahrain and Qatar and United Arab Emirates and Saudi Arabia. But who is getting bombed right now? Who is getting their oil destroyed? Who is getting their economy destroyed? The very countries that supposed that the United States would protect them. Or take the case of Ukraine. They naively thought that if they appeal for NATO membership, they will be safe. But all that did was to bring war to their own territory. So there is a famous saying of Henry Kissinger, which many people know, that to be an enemy of the United States is dangerous, but to be a friend of the United States is fatal. And what he meant by that is what we're witnessing, that to rely on the United States for your security is a very, very bad idea. Frankly, I have to say to friends in Taiwan, for example, if you believe the United States is your security, you're making a really dangerous mistake. Your security is peace, understanding, negotiation, whatever kind of arrangement. But the United States is not security. The United States is a magnet for war. So I have appealed to my friends in Taiwan like I did to my friends in Ukraine. If I may be blunt about it, when the Ukrainians said, well, we want the U.S. to protect them, I said, you're not going to get protection that way. And if people in Taiwan who so many colleagues and friends and students, if you think that arms sales from the United States protects Taiwan, please think again. This becomes the basis for war, not for peace. Peace does not come through armaments and arms races. Peace comes through negotiation and dialogue, not through the armaments. And peace does not come through U.S. military bases or U.S. armaments. So this is a clear lesson. Every time I hear peace through strength, right now I shudder. That's the American adage. We'll be so strong that we'll have peace. But if that were true, why is the United States always at war? Every year, all the time, the U.S. is at war. Because it's a very bad habit. It's not peace through strength, it's war through strength. It's arms races leading to wars. What we need is peaceful negotiation, mutual respect and understanding, solutions to issues,